Hello, hello, welcome. Let me just fix TikTok also. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I wanted to change my position and do live from here so you can see the view, but I don't think you can see the view. Okay, but on TikTok, yeah, TikTok can see the view. Well, it is there. It is behind me. Hi, my darling sister. So today we're talking about detachment. I thought that it's like a really needed subject. It's something interesting. It's something that everybody is suffering, like little by little. Some people suffer more, some people suffer less. Ideally, we should not have this issue at all. Detachment is something of a trauma that basically our mind is putting on us, so to say. Now, if you ever watched a cartoon, it's called Avatar. I think it was on Netflix at one point, and I watched it long time ago when I first started studying energy. My mentor advised me to do it. And in that cartoon, it's a really good cartoon. If you're interested in energy, please do watch it. You will really like it. So in that cartoon, basically the main character, Avatar, he needed to open all his seven centers and he couldn't open the seventh center. And the person who was kind of mentoring him, he told him, you need to detach. You could not be attached. If you want to kind of to open yourself up to the universe, and he couldn't detach because he believed if he would detach from the people that he loves, he wouldn't be able to protect them. And only when he detached, he was able to actually protect them. When he was attaching to the people, he was not able to protect them. So that was my first kind of introduction to detachment. It was a while back. It was maybe 8 years ago, even 9 years ago. I was just learning how to. I was learning energy. I was just getting into the subject. So it was a long time ago, but I understand how important it is to detach. As everybody else, as a human being, I also was attaching myself to certain outcomes, to certain people, and I was afraid to lose them. Now, obviously, it is somewhat unhealthy to get attached. It's absolutely not right. You see, we are here to develop, and our development is all about becoming self-sufficient. So I am a consciousness. I have a mind. I have a body to experience, and my body consists of the energy, and the energy consciousness, basically, and mind. So I'm here to develop through experiences. So through the experiences, I'm here to develop. Now, how can I develop? No, not like this. If I am like, I can only develop if I do everything on my own. So I don't need to experience everything on my own, but I need to be self-sufficient. So anything I need, I can give for myself. Doesn't mean that I have to give it all the time, but I should be able to do that. I should be able to be this self-sufficient. Now, other people, other circumstances, particular maybe things, items, they're only showing what I'm lacking. So, for example, if I'm afraid to, I don't know, if I'm afraid that that there won't be no sun anymore, I'm afraid that I will just be without sun, without any kind of light. It's only showing me that I'm afraid to lose the benefit that the sun gives. I don't really care for the sun that much. I care for the benefit that the sun gives. So now, in this video, I hope to teach you all and help you to detach, because detachment is important for everybody. No matter if you are in a relationship, or if you are super attached to your children, or you're super attached to your parents, or you're super attached to a certain outcome, you're manifesting something and you could not just detach yourself from it, or you super attached to your work. Like, I was afraid to lose my job, and I am not sure why, because I was actively, constantly recruited. I had a really good result, so I knew that I would land the job the next day if I would lose my job, but still I was very attached and I was very afraid to lose it. So Detachment is important, and we're going to do it today. Now, I will tell you my experience. I was attached to many things and many people in my life, and right now I can tell you without any kind of doubt, I don't have attachments right now at all. I do love my family. I love my man. I love my, my project that I'm doing. I love YouTube. I love TikTok. I love my clients, but I have no attachment. I live absolutely. I appreciate everything that is in my life. I appreciate what I want to achieve in my life, but I'm not attaching myself to the outcome. Look, I am a Reiki master, as you know, so I will explain to you how energetically it works. This is me, this is my aura, this is the energy that fills up my aura, right? Now, if I am going to be attached to something else or to somebody else, the energy will be over there. So my energy is leaving my aura and goes to somebody else. Or let's say I have a man, right? And I'm super attached to him. So my energy now invading his aura and leaving me empty. So I'm here, all vulnerable without the energy, and he is feeling invaded because my energy lost kind of the guidance and stays over there instead of staying here with me. You see, so the attachment only makes me super weak. It doesn't really do anything. It really, there won't be a good outcome if you think that you're attaching yourself, and it would usually it just the control. But I will get to that. So I remember the first time when I realized I was attached is when I was in my first university, and I was on scholarship there. And if you have like good results, good grades, they also give you some money every month, like little stipend. I'm not sure how it's called, but it was like, and I was afraid to lose that because I am not from a super wealthy family, and that money was helpful. So the first exam that we had, you had to have like really good grades to pass the exams with really good grades, not to lose those monthly payments. And the first exam was actually history, and I really love history. As you know, history is one of my passions, just like energy. And it was the worst. I studied so much, I knew everything, and yet I got not a very good grade. Why? Because I was very attached to the result. Now I was able to fix that, and I still was getting my money, but still, yeah, I remember that was like a real bright example that attachment doesn't bring anything good in your life except for frustration and anxiety. So but that was my kind of like straight into my face, and after that I realized that, okay, whether I'm getting money or not, it was easier to get a part-time job than to be so stressed for those little money that the university was paying the good students on scholarship. So after that, I obviously was attached. I was very much attached to my family. I was afraid to lose them. Then that passed, and then I was very attached to men. Obviously, I think a lot of people, because I was afraid that if they will disappear from my life, how I'm going to live, how I'm going to, have this kind of experiences that they want. And then I had attachment to my to the project that I was working on, the manifestations. So I had my share of attachments. If you think that I didn't, you're mistaken. Right now, I'm absolutely detached, I would say, but that's because I work on myself hard every single day. And sometimes when I'm weak, when my energy is depleting, when I'm somewhat vulnerable, I still get this attachment. I still kind of, I'm like, I should write some people in my life to make sure, it's like I need the reconfirmation that they're still here and they're not leaving you. Attachment is always, you always will need to attach yourself to somebody, or you attaching yourself to somebody when your energy is low. When your energy is high, you really don't need anybody or anything, because you're high. Your energy, you have enough energy to fill your aura. Once you don't have enough energy to fill your aura, then you need everybody. You need your family, you need the boyfriend, the husband, you need your kids. It's just how it is. Even if you have a relationship with somebody and the relationship is not good, but you would rather have the relationship, any kind of relationship, bad or good, as long as that person is in your life. It creates that kind of security. It gives, even if it's a dirty energy, but it's energy that fills your aura, at least somehow. So the more you are attached, the faster that something will disappear. Why? Because energetically you depend on it, and your higher self, your Your consciousness will not allow that. Remember, you're here to experience life and to develop yourself. If you will be depending on other people and other circumstances, it has to go, because you could not constantly depend on this. You have at one point to learn how to depend on yourself. It's just normal, and I have so many examples when this is exactly what happens. If you start depending on money too much and you're afraid to lose the money, there will be some kind of circumstances that will basically take the money away. Now, I understand it's not very hard, but we will do it together. So the people, circumstances, and everything else shows you what you need to work on. So if you are depending on money, let's imagine your attachment is to money and you're like really obsessed with it, or let's imagine to your job. What does money and job give you? Like, what is that that feeling that you are receiving from this from money or from job or from your boyfriend, from something? So basically, outside circumstances, outside people are only showing what you need to work on. So if I need money because money gives me security, then I need to work on my security. It has nothing to do with money. Even if you give me millions and millions of dollars, I still will have this issue with security. Maybe with millions and millions of dollars, I will start thinking, oh my God, what if somebody will spam me? What if I will lose them? So it still will be that issue, the security. Find yours. I mean, I don't know what money gives you if you have this attachment. So we need all these people, friends, colleagues, and the situations to show what we need to work on. If nobody is going to show me that I have an attachment, unhealthy attachment to something, how will I know what I need to work on? If you see, it's important. Like, for example, you have friends, and your friends are becoming like they're distancing themselves. They don't want to be in your company much. They don't really text or call unless you text and call them, and you are afraid, you're attached to your friends because you're afraid if your friends will disappear, your life will become boring. Now, your friends at this moment are showing you that your life is boring, that you need to spice up your life somehow. You ideally should kind of be thankful to them for showing you what is happening, that they showed you that you need to work on that. Now, if you wouldn't have these friends, if you will not have, if they would not distance themselves, you will never know that you have this unhealthy attachment to them. So they only show what you need to work on. The same as if you have a boyfriend or a husband and you really, you're controlling him, you're checking his phones. Don't do that. Watch the video that I had on last Saturday, what not to do in the relationship, if you want. But if you are trying to control everything he does, everybody he's talking to, you have this unhealthy attachment to him. Again, what are you so afraid to lose? I mean, it's not the guy. I mean, there are a lot of men even better than this. What are you afraid to lose? There is something that you're afraid to lose. Now, you need to find what it is. All right. And I wrote here, an ultimate goal in life is to give yourself whatever you need from others or from something. For example, you can't feel energetic without a coffee. And at one point, you will start to fear that there won't be no coffee. I remember one time I went on a vacation. I lived in New York and we came to Miami, me, my friend, and our moms. So my mom and her mom. And her mom was like really caffeine addicted. So she brought with her like a little bag with coffee. And I'm like, look, we're just going to another state. But she was so afraid. She was so attached to coffee. She was afraid she will wake up and there won't be coffee. Or maybe there won't be like a place where she can go by, or maybe we will not stop somewhere to have breakfast, something. So she would drag her coffee everywhere. And my friend said she takes it everywhere she goes with her. Like in her purse, she always have this little bag of coffee that she, I guess, I don't know, if there is no hot water, how are you going to cook it? But I guess she's carrying it with. So coffee shows you that you have this attachment to something to wake you up. And it's not really the coffee part. So detachment is something you would need to learn whether you want it or not. The first time you would need to learn how to detach. The first time when I actually was forced to detach was during my tantric lessons. So as you know, I studied tantra for some time. And I really love this. I really love the connection between man and woman, the deep connection and everything. And in that lesson, our teacher was, so basically Tantra teaches you how to connect to a man and to everybody around you on a really deep level. But you could not really connect to anybody on a really deep level until you can do it with yourself. So the first time I really had to disconnect from everybody was when we were taught and given the task to have an orgasm with ourselves. So you don't touch yourself, you don't do nothing. You basically have to focus, keep the right focus and right energy to give yourself some kind of euphoria, right? And only and that's why we were doing it. We were doing it because you can't really feel pleasure unless you know how to give it to yourself. And you could not depend on everything. You could not depend on some kind of devices or other people or something. And in that moment, I mean, I was not successful right away, but at that moment, I learned how important it is to be self-sufficient. Only when you learn how to move the focus and energy within you to get the results that you want, only then you can really enjoy it with other people in your life. So the and from that on, I made it my job, not even my job, but my focus to get rid of detachment. Try to detach as much as I can from things that I'm somewhat depending on. Now that was a while ago, obviously, a few years ago. I'm a Reiki master now, so I know how to detach very easy. All right, so why is detachment so hard? There is two reasons why it's hard. Well, first of all, our mind is the creature of a habit. Anything new is a threat for a mind. So if you're dating this guy and he's maybe not the best guy, he's not the handsomest guy, he's not treating you the best, but he's somebody you basically you live with him, you kind of this and that, So, I mean, he's familiar thing to your mind and to your body. Now you can leave him and find somebody else, but then you don't know whether the other one will be better than this one. So you are somewhat your mind is your mind doesn't like the change. You see, if something like I wrote here, if something is changing, the mind is in panic, especially if there were no changes for a while. Like, for example, you've been married for like 10 years and then you coming out on dating and you feel very, very strange, very, very shy, very, like nervous because you haven't done it in a while. So, or for example, I put over here about myself. There was time when I didn't travel. When I first moved to Miami, before I moved here, I traveled quite during the COVID. I traveled a lot, and then when I came here, I didn't travel for some time. So when I went to the airport after this kind of break of I think 3 or 4 years, I really was a little nervous about the airport. I mean, to do everything right, to come a little early like this. But last year I was traveling almost every month. So now I come to the airport like a grocery store. You see, my mind have a new habit now, a habit that makes me that basically shows that traveling is not a threat. Traveling is something like a normal thing to do. So the second reason is you don't believe you can get the same thing, or you don't believe that your life could be good without it. Like, you are attached to something because you believe that you don't believe that you're worthy enough to get something else. So if the mind thing comes from the kind of possible threat, this one comes from a really lack mindset, so to say. And this is just something to work with yourself. Like, there's just nothing to do. For example, you depend on money because you believe that money gives you comfort in life, which is true. I mean, we live in materialistic world. This is obvious, but comfort in life doesn't always depend on money. I will give you an example. I started thinking about this video after I stayed in Greece. I stayed in Athens, and I paid for my apartment. My apartment was absolutely beautiful. I paid almost $2,000. Now I met there in Athens a guy. He's actually from Florida too. So he goes to Greece often, and he stayed in a very beautiful apartment as well. But he paid $700. You see, we were both comfortable. I had a beautiful apartment. He had a beautiful apartment. I stayed in a very nice neighborhood. He stayed in a very nice neighborhood. But I paid almost 3 times more than he did, because I believe that only money can buy me comfort, and his comfort was bought with something else but money. I guess he knew somebody, some kind of connections, and he was able to to get a better price. You see, so comfort was not about money. Now on the other hand, I stayed in Mexico. It was a reverse kind of. I paid under $1,000 for my kind of fancy apartment, and everybody else around me were booking on Airbnb, and they paid so much more. So you see, the comfort did not depend on the money. So my mind, whatever my mind believed over there, it was not true. And these are two reasons always. Only these two reasons. So it's either you're afraid to break the habit. These are for people who are in feminine energy, usually energy of earth or energy of water, and they're just so used to particular, like they don't like to change much. So if there is some kind of change like on the horizon, they become like, they start panicking. And the second reason, you don't believe that you can get the same or something better, usually it's when the energy is lower. This is what happened. If you will raise the energy, you will know that you can get everything you want for and only the better. If you will lose this guy, you will get the one that is better. Usually that's how it happens. All right, so is detachment needed? Yes, it's needed. And if you want to have a fulfilling life, if you want to develop, if you want to grow, you will need to learn how to detach. So I propose you to detach right now with me, then to wait another few years, and at one point you will be detached. How will it happen? I will tell you how. You will be so absolutely in love with the guy, and at one point he will just perish with something, and then you will have to learn how to detach. Or he will suddenly cheat, and you will have too high morals to forgive him. So instead of waiting for this to happen, why not to learn how to detach right now and stay in a healthy relationship? And it's not only about men. It's also about, let's imagine you manifest something. Let's imagine you want to have in your possession $500,000, right? And you're depending on that money. I don't know, maybe you want to buy a house and you really, really need this money. You like really attaching yourself to that outcome. The money, you're invading the money space, and the money probably will not come. Or if they will come, let's imagine you work really hard and you will get the money. There will be some kind of expenses that will take that money because you're too much, you're attaching. You believe that you're not good enough to depend on yourself as much as you depend on that $500,000. You see, your higher self will never forgive you for that. No matter how good anything or anybody is, you have to be detached. And also, if you want to develop, if you want to open all your 7 chakras, if you want to be completely in unison with universe, you have to get detached. If you want to open your 7th chakra, you have to be detached. Ideally, you should not be attached to anything or anybody. Your parents, siblings, partners, children, possessions, anything. You should be absolutely detached like this. This is the ideal picture. And if you think you will lose somebody or something because you will get detached, you won't. I have much stronger connections and much more pleasant connections with my family, with my friends, with my clients, with my man, with really everybody, just because I'm so detached. It's like people, they are in my life, I'm grateful, they will live my life, okay, what I'm going to do. I mean, let them. So I live like this, and it made me much stronger. I appreciate the people in my life. I value the time I spend with them. but I'm not attached. Okay, so the steps, right? We need to. I even put here. Why do we form attachments? We believe that something is more important than us. We put it above. Something is energetically valuable. Exactly what I said. We think that something is better than us, and we put all our energy into that other something. It's either a person, so we're putting in their aura, or it's some kind of outcome. We're putting a lot of energy into that, into that. Into that that kind of I would not say system, but some kind of energetic creature, right? All right, so what are the steps? The first step is you need to take your energy back. Ideally you should take your energy back every day before you go to sleep. So you say something like, I take my energy back from all the people, all the circumstances, all the situations, all the places. The energy gets purified and comes back to me. Like this. Ideally, you should do it every day. If you are super attached to something, you should do it from that particular person. So, for example, you are super attached to me. You can say, I'm taking my energy back from Anastasia, and all the situations connected to her, energy gets purified and comes back to me. If you think that if you will take your energy, that other person will forget about you, no, they will not. They actually will want to pursue you, because now you're not invading their space. You're staying within your space, and they want to kind of to have an experience with you, because right now you're not invading them. Now, the second step is taking your energy back is a healthy thing. If you have children, if you have parents, your partners, you always need to take your energy back. It is important because knowingly or unknowingly you become too comfortable and you start invading their space. It's never good. You should remember you only connect on 25% with everybody. Maybe with your children, when they are very, very small, you connect more, but for the most part, you also need to respect your children and their privacy, and allow them to be them, kind of. All right, the second step is you need to realize that you are attached. Once you confirm and admit to yourself that you are, it will almost like 50% win. A lot of people are in denial, honestly. They're almost afraid to admit. A lot of people. I work with clients, and I know when they are attached. I know when they're seriously attached is when they are in denial. For example, if I had this client, she was a smoker. And right now, hardly anybody is smoking. So she told me, well, I can quit anytime. And I said, okay, so why don't you? For a week, why don't you do it? And she became very defensive. I knew that she could not, that she is attached to I was not sure what she was attached to, the cigarettes, because we started working on something else. So that was kind of left hanging. I'm not sure whether she was attached to the cigarettes, whether she was attached to the nicotine, or whether she was attached to the process. Some people just like to kind of to have something to do when they drink their coffee or whatever. So you need to admit to yourself, if you are very much, if you're with the guy and you believe that you just love him, you're not attached, you just love him. Okay, if you're nervous when he's not around, and if he didn't answer you for 2 days, and you become super nervous and afraid that he will never answer, or that he will never reach out to you, you're attached. You're seriously attached. I mean, if my man is not going to write me for a week, I mean, that's fine. I mean, if we had plans and he didn't show up, he better have a good explanation and something to make it up for me. But for the most part, I really don't care. Okay, so fine. Thank you for good experience. Who's next? Like I don't. There's just no thing. So you need to admit to yourself. As I said, I work with people, and I know that most of the time people don't admit. It's like they're afraid to admit. They're afraid that they will break the sandcastle that they built for themselves if they will admit it to me. So admit, or to themselves for that matter. So you need to admit, if you're afraid to lose something, if you're super attached to something, if like the first time when they said that the TikTok will be banned, I mean, how many people, they almost had like serious breakdowns just because of what the social platform. I mean, I love TikTok, but not to the point that to be that attached. So, anyways, you need to confront yourself and admit to yourself that you are basically that you're attached. So that's the first thing. Once you do it, you will see, you will feel much easier. For the most part, it's your inner fight. It's like your consciousness is pushing you, Anastasia, you're too attached, and you're like, no, I'm not. So you're basically fighting within yourself, and you will say, yes, I am attached. It's like you already you already you already did a few things to get better. All right. So the third thing that you need to do, you need to find out what exactly you're attached to. What is the fear? So there is always a fear. Us ourselves, our consciousness, our energy is very selfish. If you think that you are so nice to everybody else, you're mistaken. You're earning something from them. You're trying to deserve something. We are extremely selfish creatures, and this is normal. That's how it should be. If I would not be selfish, then how I'm going to live, how I'm going to keep my energy. If I would give my energy to everybody, I will not be able to develop. So you need to, so whether you want it or not, you're selfish. Now find the fear that holds you to that attachment. For example, you have a child, and your child is a teenager, and since the child is a teenager, the child is kind of trying to detach himself or herself from you. Now, and you're trying to control. Why? What is the fear there? Are you trying to, why are you so attached to the child and to being able to control the child? Are you afraid that the child will grow up and leave you alone and you will be all on your own? Are you afraid that that you will lose the control and you will not be able to control the situations that are happening? Or are you afraid that the child will do something stupid and you will have to to spend money? What is the fear? You need to fear. Or for example, if you're afraid that you won't be able to make enough money, what is the fear? Are you afraid that you will not have enough security? Or are you afraid that you will not have enough to show off in front of your friends? Or are you afraid that you will not have enough to, I don't know, to pay your obligations? There must be fear, and for everybody it would be different, because your fears depend on your perception of the reality. So you need to find what is the fear associated with this particular attachment. If you're with the man and you're afraid to lose him, what is the fear about? Are you afraid that if you lose him, you will be lost in the world? I mean, are you afraid that you won't be able to afford your living if he supported you? Or are you afraid that you will never be able to feel this loved? Are you afraid that you will never be able to feel I don't know, to feel particular emotions? So find out exactly what the fear is. There's no really point in fighting the attachment if you don't know what you're attached to. You see? Now, attachment creates a huge energetic pressure, as I already said, and nothing and nobody likes to be pressured. The world of energy is very harmonious, and ideally it should stay this way. So now you, with your fears and your attachments, are disrupting that world of energy. Let's imagine you have a partner, and that partner lives in a harmonious energy. Well, he wouldn't. If you are not harmonious, he wouldn't be harmonious. You guys match. But let's imagine he is all harmonious, or let's imagine the money situation is all harmonious, and now you disrupting it with your chaotic energy because you could not calm yourself down. So attachment creates a huge energetic pressure on everybody. Or you depending on somebody for love, and now that person, without knowing it, kind of feels this kind of pressure and doesn't even know why they feel pressure for, because you're not communicating that you depend on their love, but they do feel pressure and they want to distance themselves. So for example, I wrote here, if you believe you will never find another job, you will start to push your job away. So whatever you're attached to, whether you want it or not, you will energetically push that thing away. So if you're afraid to lose your man, the more you will get attached to him, the chances are the faster you will lose him. Why? Because he will be pushing away from you. It's always like this. It always works like this. Imagine that there are bubbles of energy around you. Some of them you intersect. If you're with your partner, his bubble is touching your bubble, or for example, your job, the bubble of the job and your bubble also touches itself because you guys, you connected. So there is a whole bunch of these bubbles. Now, if you will depend on your job, on your man, on this, on that, you're pushing all those bubbles away because your energy invading those bubbles. You see, and those bubbles will run away because nobody wants to be invaded like this. Okay, so then what you need to do, you need to give yourself what you're so attached to. Find different sources for what you need. For example, if you depend on your man for security, give that security somehow to yourself. For example, let's imagine you're married and your man is providing for you and you're afraid if something happened to him or if he will decide to leave you, you will be left with nothing. So you can get yourself a part-time job, or maybe you can do something online, or maybe you can tell your man, speak to him and tell him something like, listen, I'm worried about my future. I'm like, what if something will happen to you? I need to have a plan B. Man will never tell you no, so maybe he will say, okay, so let me give to you, I don't know how much, 13,000 you can give as a gift every year, or well, she's a spouse, so he can just give her the money, and he basically will be putting on her account that will be just her account, not attached to his, something like that. So this way she will be creating security without putting pressure on him. You see, it is important. So you need to give it to yourself. Now, if you're depending on your friends for entertainment, then you need to find entertainment somehow else yourself. This is just the only way to really get rid of detachment is either work on your energy of air or give yourself what you're so attached to. And I did both. So you can, people energy of air usually the most detached because they frankly are so much in their head and their ideas that they're not grounded enough to be attached. Like they're not attached to nothing. If you have a lot of energy of air, chances are you're basically, you really just don't get that much attached. All right, but they have other problems, so that's okay. Now, if you, another thing to remember, so once you will give this to yourself, you basically will start pulling the energy back, and that, so for example, you start, let's imagine you want to win the lotto so badly because you need the money so much, you're putting a huge energetic pressure on the lottery, and then you decide, you kind of give up already, and you're like, okay, whatever. I need to get money somehow else. So you get yourself a job and you start making money and you're doing good at job and you're getting more and more money. And suddenly the lottery wants you to win. So, and suddenly you go and you buy tickets and you win the lotto. At least some amounts. I mean, you don't need to win the millions, right? So this is how it happens. Or for example, with the man, if you need your man to entertain you every weekend and suddenly you got yourself new friends and you're going out with them, now your man will get interested in you again. Because why? Because you removed your energy and now he's interested in you. It always works like this, and whether you want it or not, you can complain or cry or whatever, but in the end, it is your goal to become self-sufficient. Now, if you detach, and I put here, once you will learn how to replace the needed feeling, you will stop being so attached. And the less attached you are, the more another person or thing will feel it and will want to be in your space. You see? That's why they say if you want to manifest something, you have to detach. But to detach, you need to know how to replace the feeling. You won't be able to detach if you will not recreate that feeling. You see, it's important for you. You're craving it that much because it's important for you. And if you're like, okay, that's it. I don't, from now on, I don't want to feel love. That's it. That will never happen. You're craving that feeling because you're lacking in that. So you need to replace it. All right. If the goal is to keep that something or somebody or attract something, then you need to start feeling like I'm fine with or without them. But it's amazing that this something or this somebody is in my life. Like your feeling should be neutral, somewhat positive about everything. For example, it would be nice. I mean, I'm fine without $500,000, but it would be so nice and exciting to get one, like something like that. Or if I'm dating a man, it would be, well, I can do without him, but we're definitely having good time. So why not to continue with this good time? You see, I even put here, for example, I will be fine without my man. I have other admirers, but only with him we have such fun, and we probably can continue our relationship. Thoughts about anything or anybody should be without any kind of flag. If you want to think about your man, then think about him from your experience. What are you feeling when you're with him? It's not what he's giving you, it's what you're feeling. You're feeling loved, or you're feeling soft, or you're feeling feminine when you're with him. You're feeling like the butterflies all over you. You don't feel your legs, you hardly touching the ground. And this is the amazing feeling that you need. You really don't need a man. If there would be another man that would give you these feelings, you will gladly swap them. I mean, even better. So this is the feeling that you should feel towards everybody. Like my family, I love my family very much, and I appreciate them very much. But if they decide to choose not to have me in their life, I mean, that's fine. I will be like fine without them. But I very much appreciate them, and I think that we're a very good, strong family. So why not to be together like this? You see, and this is how everybody should feel towards anything. Now, if you will start feeling completely neutral about something or somebody, that somebody or something will disappear from your life. So be detached, but don't be like detached to the point of neutrality. For example, if you have a friend, my sister, for example, you have a friend, and that friend never comes into your mind, and that's probably happened to you. You probably never think about your friend for months and months and months, and that friend never shows up in your life for months and months and months. You don't hear from her. Because ideally, you finished your lesson with her, you became absolutely neutral, you probably have some energetic mismatch, and you guys just somewhat separated. So don't be completely neutral. When you detach yourself from something, you don't need to be neutral. You have to be positive somewhat. You need to show that you want this experience. If you are neutral, then it's like you don't need it really. With the friend, so if you don't want to lose the friend, you basically start thinking like this: oh, it was so nice, we went to this restaurant, we just had so much fun, or we lay in the pool together and we're talking, and we always have something to talk, or we inspire each other. I love to talk to her, I always feel so inspired, she always feels so inspired. So that friend will constantly be in your life. Or with your man, instead of you being completely neutral whether he is or he's not, you can think something like, I really enjoy my time with him. I always feel so soft and feminine when I'm with him. So you're not attaching. You see, it's all energetic. When you are attaching, you're too much invaded. When you are completely neutral, it's like you're out of the relationship. It's like you're done. But if you are neutral but somewhat positive, you're like this, like a lighthouse. I'm not going to pursue, but I wouldn't mind if it stays in my life, like that. You see, so it's you need to understand. Don't be neutral to anything you want, but be somewhat excited, somewhat positive. I put here light positivity and excitement will keep them in your life. If you play the lotto, don't feel desperately in need of money. Feel the excitement and clear vision of what you will do with the cash. Like this, don't get attached. The two people that I knew that hit really big in lotto, that's how exactly they felt. They didn't feel any kind of pressure because both of them had jobs and they had incomes, and both of them were not poor. Like they have their own houses, but they were playing for extra cash if they would get, and they felt like, oh, it would be good. They were almost like daydreaming a little bit. They were both my clients, so I knew clients from my previous career, and that's how they felt. All right, and the last point that I wanted to make is don't blame others for attachments or when they don't reciprocate. So if you are like seriously in love with the guy and you're like, I do everything for you, like my life belongs to you, I mean, like I'm all in you, and you are not appreciating this, don't blame him, blame only yourself. The fault is yours. The guy is basically flashing you so brightly that you're too attached, that you need to do something, that you need to give yourself what you're so attached to, and he is showing you your weakness. Work on your weakness instead of blaming him, demanding something from him. Work on your weakness. Ideally, you should be grateful to everybody and everything that shows you. Like, if you are so dependent on money and you want money so badly, you should be like, okay, thank you for showing me that I need to work on my security, on my expansion, on my something. This way, you don't put the pressure. You remove that pressure that maybe at one point was sitting on your on that money kind of anchor. All right, that's it. So if you have questions, please do ask. To sum it up, let me sum it up. Detachment is a trauma. It's an unhealthy relationship with something. It doesn't even have to be a person or an item or a circumstance. It could be your own delusions. For example, you want to get married by next year. So it's your dream and you're absolutely attached. It's not even an event. It's not a person. It's just some kind of social pressure on you that you need to get married by this kind of, and you are extremely attached. You're putting pressure on your own dreams and kind of your own thoughts, you see? So detachment is never good to nothing. If you're super attached to your bed, get unattached. Otherwise something happen. It will break or something. If you are super attached to your apartment, I mean, something happens. So ideally you should not be attached to nothing. You're here to develop your mind, your body, your energy is here to develop. And to develop, you need to become self-sufficient no matter what. So you basically can give yourself everything. And the more you give everything to yourself, the more you will be able to experience it with others. Like in Tantra, when I was able to give pleasure to myself just by focusing the energy, nothing else, I started experiencing it much stronger with my partners. You see, but I give it for myself first. So the same with money. The more secure I will feel in my own skin and my own presence right now, the more I will feel secure when with the money. You see, it's always like this. You need to give it to yourself. You're self-sufficient, and you are only developing on your own. You're not others helping you to develop, but you are developing on your own. Others are only like little helpers. That's it. They could not do your work for you. If you want to learn more about this, watch this cartoon Avatar. But ideally, here's two reasons why you're getting attached. The first one is the mind is the creature of habit. Usually, you get attached because you basically you're comfortable in the situations that are not changing. That's it, like in New York, I lived in the same apartment for over 10 years. Did I always like my apartment? No, I didn't. Did it need some maybe upgrade a little bit? Yes, it did need it. But I was so comfortable in my habit of living there that I was not even looking for anything else. I basically stayed there because my mind is a creature of habit, because I was attached to that apartment, and that's it. And when I left that apartment, when I knew that I had to move, but I couldn't make my stuff. So the universe gave me very loud, well, not very loud, but they had two little kids, and the kids were always running, and they were making this noise like this, and it was driving me crazy. And only then I said, I moved. So these are two reasons. See, your mind doesn't like nothing new. It's basically just a habit. And the second one is you don't believe that you can get something else or something as good as you already got. This is the problem with this is your self-worth. And please do watch the video on self-worth if you have this issue. So for example, you're dating somebody and you're afraid to leave this guy because what if you never get a better one? It's that never happens. The better one will come maybe even faster than you think. But again, if you will think that you'll never get a better one, then you probably won't. All right. Is detaching needed? 100%. If you won't detach yourself, there will be circumstances that will push you to detach. I guarantee you that. I saw it so many times. What are the steps to take to get yourself detached? So first of all, you need to take your energy back. You should do it all the time. So nobody should have your energy. The second thing you need to do, you need to realize that you do have this attachment. This is the first step, and obviously it needs to be. You need to accept. A lot of people are in denial, like seriously in denial. You talk to them and you see that the person is almost shaken, afraid to lose something, and you attach to it, and like, no, I'm not. I mean, okay. So admit to yourself. You don't have to admit to me. Admit to yourself. That's it. If you want, admit it to one of your friends. That would be even maybe better, because you reconfirm that you do have the attachment. And if you think that something is so, for example, the attachments, they're not always so good. So, for example, um, you're fighting with your boyfriend all the time, and yet you're afraid to lose him. So you see, the attachment is almost unhealthy. You know that your relationship is not good, but yet you're holding on to him because this is a habit. All right, then you need to find what exactly you're attached to. What is the fear? You have to be precise about that. Um, Attachment creates energetic pressure on somebody, on something, on the result, on your ideas, on so everything is like a little energetic bubble, a small bubble or a bigger bubble, but it's still a energetic bubble, and none of those bubbles wants you to invade them. It's never good unless you are really strong. Then you can invade it, but for the most part, you won't be able to invade everything. Find what the so those you're not supposed to. So if you are going to create that energetic pressure for somebody or something, they will basically unconsciously like push away from you. It's normal. For example, you're trying to control your children very much, they don't even want to spend time with you. Or you're trying to you bought yourself like super expensive shoes, so you're very careful, when you walk on them, you try not even to touch the ground. And you're like really, really, like, you always clean them, and then suddenly something happens to them. Like, I had a client, it was so funny. She went to the party in her new shoes. They were super fancy and super expensive, and she was very careful with them. And then somebody slipped like a drink on them, and they were white leather, I think, and she couldn't get rid of them. But her boyfriend, he knew how she was upset, and he bought her another pair. What I want to say is that if she wouldn't have this huge attachment to something happened to my shoes, or I could not lose my shoes, probably that would never happen. Then you need to give yourself what you're the most attached to. Maybe buy a few pairs of those shoes, so if something happened to one of them, you still have two pairs left. And find different sources. As I always say, every woman, every man has to have balanced 4 roles. So if your attachments usually create when you are not balanced in your own life. When you are not balanced, when you're weak, then you start looking around everywhere. So it's either you're putting all your energy in your man. You don't have no friends. You don't have relationship with your friends. Maybe even with your family. You don't have a good career. Maybe you guys don't even have kids. And then you only depend on him. So make sure that there is other sources for your happy existence. Give it to yourself. So give to yourself what you so much need from us, or at least start giving. Now, once you will give yourself what you so much need, you will basically get somewhat detached from the person. Make sure when you will start getting detached, don't detach too much. Like, I had a colleague, and that colleague never worked. So she was a stay-at-home wife. For some reason, they didn't have kids. I mean, we were not that close, so I'm not sure. And then she started working, and she loved the career so much. She started growing in the field, and she realized, and she got divorced from her husband within like 2 years. Why? Because for the most part, she needed him, I guess, for the security. Once her life became more diverse, he was not needed in her life. So if you will get detached, make sure that your relationship, if you want to keep these people in your life, then your feelings should be somewhat excited towards the people, towards the circumstances, because if their feelings become neutral, they will naturally and harmoniously exit your life. Doesn't mean you will see them, they won't be as close in your life. And it's normal. It should be like this. For example, you have children and you become somewhat neutral. They're grown up, so they have their own life. You're someone neutral. They're still in your life. You're not checking in on them every single day. Neutrality will bring to some distance in them, and so have the positive outlook. And never blame others for your attachments, because it's not their fault that you're so attached. It's they're showing you your weaknesses. Just be grateful that they show it to you, and that you know what you need to work on always. Other people, other circumstances has nothing to do with you. If you are feeling so unfortunate because you don't have enough money, that some people have more than you and some people may be luckier or something like that, it has nothing really to do with them. It has something to do with you. Other people are maybe not as attached or something. So you basically you don't blame don't blame the circumstances. Tell thank you to the circumstances for something. So for example, you're living in a country that's not maybe as developed, and you feel like you would do better living in a more developed country. This is a video from from Wednesday, the place of you living. If you did watch it. But you basically need to say something like, okay, thank you for my country to showing, thank you to my country for showing me what I'm lacking, what I need. So why would I want to move to another country? What is it that I'm seeking in another country? Now I will give that to myself, and this is how I would move to that country. For example, this is how I moved to United States. I was 19. I was very adventurous as much as I could. Plus, I was working here and there. I was only 19, right? I was in the university, but I was tutoring little kids in English. I even had a part-time job in school. So I was very much what in my mind an American was, and I didn't do it on purpose. I just was doing it. So I was able to come to United States because this is what United States is about: adventure, kind of hustling, like that. So now, if I would have a more more quiet and more luxurious life, maybe I will move to a different place. Who knows? I mean, I lived 10 years in New York. Now I live in Florida because it's slow and quieter. You see? So instead of me blaming United States that it's super fast, oh no, instead of me blaming New York that it's super fast, super very like everything is just happening so fast. Instead of me blaming the New York, I was, and that's exactly what happened. I'm like, thank you for this chaotic 10 years. I mean, I really enjoyed myself there. I really love New York. But thank you for showing me what I am really needing, and I'm needing more kind of peaceful, calmer existence, so to say. And I moved here, so I have no attachments to New York. I didn't have any attachments to Miami. I just naturally my energy flew here like that. Who knows? Again, if I would change, maybe I will move to another place that will correspond to my current lifestyle. But again, if I would be super attached to Miami, if I would be like, I hate New York, I need to move from here, and I know people like this. If I would be like, I could not stand it here, I want to be there, I want to be where the sun shines, where 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 the ocean flows. Well, in New York there is ocean too. But if I would be like that, if I would be super attached to the result of moving to Florida, I probably will never move, because I would put a huge energetic pressure, and no situation want that pressure on them. So it's like that. I moved because there was no pressure at all. I was like, okay, next chapter. The same was anything in life. And if you think that I don't really have attachments now, but I do have, maybe I could say, energetic pressure on certain results. My Mars is in Capricorn, so I always will have this this kind of desire to succeed. So I do have that. I do have, and this is something that I work on. But for the attachments, probably not. All right, that's it. Please send this video to anybody who is struggling from attachments, from unhealthy attachments, either in a relationship or overall in their life. Again, you don't need to look too deep to find attachments. It could be your job. For example, you're afraid to lose your job. You're attached. Attached to what? I mean, is this a career that you're building and you're afraid that you will not be able to build the same career in another place? Or is it money that are holding you? Is it the sense of security? It's your colleagues. You know, the last year I was working, I mean, we had such a good team. I was like, what if I leave? Then what? I mean, like, I love these people. Like, it was so perfect. My last year, I knew I would be out of there very soon because it was just so perfect. So what is it you holding on? Don't look too deep or too far. It's usually very attachments are usually very much around you. It's somewhere that you think about all the time. It's the people that are in your life. It's usually the people that are in your life. If people are never exiting your life, it doesn't mean that they're your soulmates. That just means that you're somewhat attached to them in a good way or in a bad way. Now you find yourself, what is it for you? So it's always somewhere close to heart or home, or you're attached to a particular scent, or you're attached to like my mom. She loved the shoes, particular shoes very much, and every time she would buy them and buy like couple pairs or something, and she was so attached to them that they discontinued them. Can you imagine? So it's somewhere very very close, but these attachments, they take a lot of energy from you. The more you think about it, the more it just that energy flows there, and and that something is basically will have to exit your life, because you could not be so dependent on something little like that, like shoes, or I don't know, or your apartment, or a place of living, or another person. I mean, that's just, it will not be healthy. All right, that's it. If there are no questions, we're going to go and enjoy our Saturday, beautiful Wednesday. On Wednesday, we're meeting at 7 p.m. We're going to talk about, so I think, how to stop overgiving and start receiving effortlessly. Either this or about self-love. Not sure yet. I wasn't even sure I will be talking about detachment today. All right, that's it. Please do send these videos to anybody who will get some kind of use out of it. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you, TikTok, for your support. Thank you, YouTube. I wish on my YouTube you could see the outside like TikTok does. But they don't. Okay. All right. Bye, TikTok. Bye, YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I will see you all on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Bye, everybody.